Let's go to Sean in North Carolina. Sean, hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, John. I'm glad to be on the show.
Well, I'm glad that you called, brother. What's up?
Hi. So I am a young manager, 23 years old, and I have to go and confront an employee about racist comments he made. I've initially talked to him and found out he has a pretty homogenous upbringing that influences his words. He works hard, but his comments are often insensitive.
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to fire him immediately, but I have to counsel him and talk to him and then potentially recommend him for dismissal. How do I go about this?
Ooh. So what are some of the things, man, what are you working on? Or what's your job? What's your trade?
I like construction.
Construction, okay. So what is he talking about? What's he saying?
He went up to one of his direct supervisors and said that most black people are lazy and don't work hard.
Why? What precipitated that?
He oftentimes, when I notice him and hear him, I don't talk to him directly too much. He is one of those people who always just brings up stuff he really shouldn't talk about at work. He's always bringing up just politics and just says things that are always out of place. And I just don't know how to go about it. He works hard, but it's just his comments consistently are just not workplace appropriate, out of place.
Do you have people of color on your crew?
Yeah, it's about half. Okay. And it's just causing issues in the workplace, and I don't know if I should just recommend him for dismissal immediately. The company policy is basically I have to counsel him twice.
Yeah.
And then I could recommend him. It's just his upbringing.
Hey, listen. I could care less what his upbringing is. Could care less. Not an excuse. Don't care. It makes me compassionate or empathetic, but I don't care. Yeah, so here's the deal. I don't care how hard of a worker somebody is. If they disparage people on my team, if they disparage potential, and that may be a direct disparagement, like pointing at somebody and saying something insensitive and stupid. Not insensitive, just stupid and factually wrong. Some things that hurt people. Or they say something that could impact somebody else's dad or their mom or their brother or whatever. I don't care how good of a worker they are. They will unwind any sort of team morale, team support, and overall team unity that helps you get a job done. So you can be the best worker in the world. You ain't going to be on my team. Go work by yourself. And so my guess is that you sanitized that for me just now. This guy can get pretty raw.
Absolutely. And it's always just out. He's one of those people, and even a regular conversation, just stuff he says is like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Stupid comments all the time. And I feel like some of this with me is that my fiance tells me sometimes I treat people like projects. Mm-hmm. And I've been told by my subordinates that sometimes I'm a little too soft on people.
Yep.
And that's like where this comes in my development as a young manager who's been promoted a couple of times in the last years. I feel like I have a lot of responsibility. I'm trying to deal with this. I've dealt with a sexual harassment issue before.
Yeah. So, three things in my experience dissolve team unity faster than anything: theft and dishonesty, any sort of racial or cultural disparagement, breaking people down for the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they, just their presence, their being, right? And then any sort of sexual harassment. Not being able to come to work and feel safe, or knowing that, hey, this guy's holding a ladder for me and I wouldn't let him around my sister. I don't trust him like that. So I'm always going to be up that ladder with one eye open. Does that make sense? So those three things I have no quarter for as a leader. You're done. Get out of here. And what you lose in productivity from one person, you will gain in team unity almost 100% of the time. And even then, I don't care because I'm going to do the right thing, even if it hurts me and my team.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I want to empower you to do is to find those things, those what I would call values. Man, at a construction site, talk politics. I have been on a number of construction sites, especially when I was younger. Man, I talked in a way on a construction site. Man, language flies. And all that. That's one thing. That's a construction site, right? That is different than disparaging people because of the way they look, right? And so I would be really clear about who you're going to be, what kind of manager you're going to be, what kind of leader you're going to be, what you're going to tolerate. And then, man, as a 23-year-old, you're going to get tested right out of the gate with some 48-year-old tradesman who's really good at what he does, who's going to lean into this 23-year-old and say, I dare you. And everybody's going to be watching, Sean. And you know who's going to be watching? Everyone's going to be watching, but the most important person watching is that guy you look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're right.
And so listen, you can hold other people's pain and trauma, right? You can hold it.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot manage the outcome. So at some point, one of those guys is going to come in there and say, hey, my wife's really sick. And you're going to say, get out of here and go be with your wife. Go take care of her. Mm-hmm. And then somebody's going to follow up 2 weeks later and say, hey, I want 3 weeks off too because, and you're going to tell them, shut your mouth. Your time will come and I'll be there to support you, right? But if that guy never comes back, you still did the right thing.
Okay.
Right? But if I'm you, I wouldn't even be in this guy's face. I'm not going to meet that kind of muscle with muscle. That's meeting fire with fire. That's a full frontal assault. Those things never work. Everybody dies. That guy's going to come into my office and sit down at my thing, and I'm going to lean across the desk and say, if you make another racial statement on this site, you are finished at this company. Period. End of conversation. Or if you have to, as the HR says, you have to counsel somebody, you will say, this is your one warning. You will not divide this team up. You won't treat people that way. You're not going to make stupid, stereotypical, racial nonsense crap. You're not going to spread that poison around my job site. Not in my site. Go work somewhere else where they'll tolerate that crap. Not here.
Okay.
You're going to disparage women on my site? Get out. Because I'm not going to have that. Because I got a mom, I got a sister, I got a wife. Not going to do it. And here's what's a cool thing for a guy like you. People are your projects. Whenever somebody starts spewing poison like that on your team, I want you to think of the other 40 guys as your project, not that one. Mm-hmm. Those are the guys that you need to keep safe and well and make sure that they've got a place where they can show up and work their butt off every day. Mm-hmm. Not that they all have to put up with this one idiot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been harsh. I also want to give people this one sliver of grace. I will call somebody in and say, you may not know this, so here's your benefit of the doubt. We don't say that here. We don't talk that here. This isn't funny here. I've done that at every single job I've ever been to. Sometimes people are being jerks. Sometimes people just didn't know. And that's me using my role. And I like to think of it using my role for good, and I hope you can do that too. So wrap my head around this picture. How's that going to go? You're going to call him, and then what's going to happen next?
I'm going to call him. I'm going to go over the policies, tell him we don't tolerate that here because it's just going to affect everyone else on the site. It's not acceptable. It's not tolerable. And if he does it again, he's getting fired.
So I want to challenge you on something, okay? On this one, you have to follow policies, but don't hide behind them.
Okay.
This is a virtue and value thing. You don't have to do this, but I'd love to see you go one extra notch and say, I'm tired of you disparaging people on this site because of their race and culture. It's wrong. It's not right. It's not how we treat people. And from this point forward, that behavior is done. It's over. If I hear about it again, you're out of here. And then you can go back to here's the policies and stuff. But anytime somebody starts policy with me, I feel like they're hiding from a hard conversation. And this is one that I think is a big enough deal. And then I would loop everybody back into that and call everybody into a team meeting if y'all have those and say, I've addressed some of you. This will not happen here. Y'all can joke around, have fun. I want this to be crazy. Obviously, you're not going to bring kids to a construction site, right? But we're not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound good?
Yes, John. Thank you for the advice on it.
Hey, man, this is one of those defining moments when you're going to find out about yourself as a leader, as a person who takes a stand for what's right, and for whatever it's worth, brother. I'm proud of you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, man. Take care. And, hey, shoot me a note back and let me know how that conversation goes. It may go awful. That dude may blow up and get in your face and say this and that. No, I've been reading about that. Stick to your guns. Do what's right. And hold the line on that virtue and value, man. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.